Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. So Halloween is right around the corner and I really want to get into the holiday spirit. So today I'm going to be making 3 decorations for my bedroom. Most everything I'll be using is from my local Dollar Tree. So I hope today's creations will give you guys some inspiration for your own decorations or the ability to make them exactly the same for yourself. I hope you like today's video. If you do, please feel free to give it a like down below. And if you want to see more videos similar to this, please feel free to subscribe. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so getting into the first craft here, I'm just taking the cauldrons I'd bought, which are the base of the candlestick, and I'm cutting out the rims because I couldn't get the rocks to fit without cutting that out. I would have rather not, so I would have had more area for the glue to stick, but it's alright. I wanted to be able to weigh them down because of how light they would have been if I hadn't done that. So after cutting out all the edges of the cauldrons, I just put a whole bunch of hot glue inside the bottom and then just plopped the rocks in. Sadly, one of the rocks on one of the candlesticks did come loose. Other than for gluing the 2 cauldrons together for each stick, hot glue was actually not my friend for this entire video. It was a struggle. It was a pretty bad struggle. Just makes me wonder, all those videos where you see so many people using hot glue, how are they actually getting it to work? Because I couldn't get it to work for anything except the 2 cauldrons. Heard voices in the night. So here I'm just taking the bowls and gluing them on. This was before I realized how hot glue wasn't going to work, so you'll see how much fun that was in a bit. When I was first doing this, I thought I would make the cauldrons look like they were kind of boiling over with the hot glue, because I was going to paint it green and stuff, because the cauldrons also had fire imprints on them, which I didn't realize when I first bought them. So I was going to do like the fire red and then have the hot glue be green and oozing and stuff. So I made it kind of bulky around the edges, but I actually didn't end up doing that because I actually really liked the plain look. I think it looked really good. Of double lives, so I back from where your knife went in. Dark eyes without a face. Now that I'm on the case, LA Confidential, I deal with the devil. I ended up doing 2 coats of paint per bowl, and then I also did a sealer on top of that. I won't leave a trace. Watching every... At this point, I'm realizing the hot glue isn't going to work, so I just ripped off the bowls and then tried to clean up the hot glue as much as I could, and then just painted the bowls separately, which is what I should have done in the first place, but you live and you learn. This is what the candlesticks looked like completed. I hadn't yet put on the clear coat on the cauldrons yet because I was still deciding if I was going to paint them multicolored or not, but I actually ended up just putting sealer on top of the cauldrons too to make it all one cohesive look. With one eye open, the trust we made when broke, lost in mirrors and smoke. You laughed, but now the joke's on you. Look closely where you step. with suspect. Watching every move you're making, I'll keep my guard up, lie awake, and now you've crossed that line. I'm up all night, I'm gonna sleep with one eye open. Wait for when you're gonna trip, and if you do, I was seriously getting so frustrated at this point with none of the glue working. I ended up using some E6000, which does actually work incredibly well, but you have to be able to give it time to dry, which is what I learned. But I would definitely recommend E6000 for stuff like this. Make sure you admit you picked the wrong side. Now I'm right behind. You better sleep with one eye open. So this cookie jar is actually a jar I've had for a long time that I'm repurposing. It's actually metal, and it was, weirdly enough, incredibly satisfying to paint. I don't know why. I still had to do 2 coats of paint on it and the glaze. And then I also didn't record, apparently, when I put on the gray paint around the edges, or the trim. But that's the same house paint I used in the last video with the glitter in it. I just didn't add on the extra glitter this time. And you can actually see the glitter pretty well. So here I'm taking my critters, and this time I was smart enough to use the E6000, except for the skulls. The skulls, I didn't realize how curved they were, so I actually ended up having to put hot glue, like a pile of hot glue, on the back of them, and then using E6000 just so they were a little bit more flat. But these were actually a pack of rings that I got from Dollar Tree. They're like that really cheap plastic that's flexible. So all I did was cut off the back ring parts, and then I put some paint on the skulls. Actually, I put some paint on all of them. With the skulls, they were plain white, so I just filled in some black. And then the spiders and bats, I actually just took some light spray paint too, because they were like really flat neon colors that I wasn't too thrilled with. But it just shows that it just takes a little creativity to be able to come up with something unique. I would say the only problem I was having with this was that I wasn't giving the glue enough time to set, because I figured it needed probably about a minute or 2 by the time I was done, but I kept going, so some of the critters kept falling off as I was trying to put other ones on, but otherwise it actually works really well. I was really impressed with the glue. You picked the wrong side, now I'm right behind. You picked the wrong side, now I'm right behind. You better sleep with one eye open. Every time we touch, your hands are colder, colder. There's no beating coming from your wooden chest. Frozen grin, a mannequin. When I get closer, I can see the strings that underneath your vest. If you can cry real tears, then you're gonna cry them all for me. If you can feel real fears, then I'm gonna leave you shivering. I'm gonna make you, I'm gonna make you, I'm gonna make you. Alright, so this is the 3rd time I'm trying to glue on the skull to the plate. The first time I used hot glue. The second time I tried to use a mix of the E6000 and hot glue, and I could not get it to work, so I just gave up and stuck with the E6000 on its own. The spiders went on really easily. There was no issues with those. And then once I put the plate on, that was pretty simple. I put a little weight on it when I had it setting aside to make sure the glue stuck and whatnot. The only thing I would recommend, which I didn't think about ahead of time and I should have, was I would actually recommend you cut off the top of the skull a little bit to make it more flat. But at this point, I was just so tired. I couldn't really, I just wanted to get it done. I was so done. But it still looks good. And once the E6000 dried, that stuff is really strong. I'm really surprised I don't think I can get it apart, even though there's so little contact, which is good. So we're at the end of today's video. These are the 3 projects I did. The candy jar, I think, turned out pretty well. Not a big fan of the critters kind of poking out off of it, but it makes it unique, and for using what I got, I think it still turned out really good. In certain lighting, you can see the sparkle from the gray paint. I don't know if you will be able to see it on camera really, but so I think it turned out really well. Candle holders, can't really, they look good, you know, despite one of them not being completed. I will go and try to find another bowl that I can complete it with. Once that's done, I think they actually still turned out really good. Once I put the glaze on the cauldrons, it really made it all sync together, which I think turned really good. So once I can have 2, I think I'll be happy with it. I'm happy with it now, but I'll be really happy with it once it's completed. The plate, skull, dish thing, I don't even know what to call it at this point. I'm so tired. Turned out really good, I think. I'm probably just going to put candy on it for family members or something, but super simple. You really can't get much more simple than this. Despite how much I struggled with these projects, they are super cheap and easy. Hopefully you guys watching will see my mistakes, not repeat them. But if you make your own, please feel free to comment down below, share your experiences. I'd love to learn what you guys do. Also, if you guys do anything different, or what you wouldn't add to them or would add to them to make them in your own style, please feel free to leave all that down below. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Bye. Just like a real boy.